Hey everybody, this is Jason with Premier Guitar, and we're back with a gear spotlight, and we're here with Dave from Yamaha. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good. How are you, Jason?
Good. And today we're going to talk about a few things for the home recording enthusiast, if you will. We're gonna talk about a new interface, new Steinberg interface, and some new features in the latest version of Cubase.
Yeah.
So let's start with the interface. So tell us a little bit about the new interface and what are some of the highlights.
Okay, so the interface we're demonstrating is the new RT4. And the RT, this is based on our UR series, which has been very popular, but the RT is the exciting bit. It's basically means Rupert Neve transformers. So the transformers, there are 4 of them on the front inputs. It's a 6x4 interface, 4 mic preamps, 4 of these transformers, designed by Rupert Neve-designed, and they are kind of a new design to get sort of a classic analog saturation characteristic at the lower volumes that exist like in the modern DAW-based studio. So it's just a way to get kind of some classic Rupert Neve flavor, but very accessibly for modern recording players.
So tell us a little bit about the sound we heard on the intro. Now that was a mic'd cabinet, mic'd guitar amp, I should say, you have there.
Yeah, so the signal chain right now is it's a Mesa Boogie Mark V in the 10-watt Class A mode into a rectifier cabinet mic'd with a condenser mic, and I could give a demonstration of how the character of this transformer goes, like with and without. I've got a couple of sources here because it really adds a nice saturation, crispness, presence to the top end, and it really gives a nice character. Like, this is not a several $1,000 Portico strip or anything like that. It doesn't offer that kind of level of granular control, but it gives you this choice between the very clean Yamaha D-Pre preamp or having something with, when you engage the transformer, something that has a little more grit and presence and character. So here is the sound of the guitar mic'd up. So this is without the transformer. Let's see here. And then if I kick it in, we're just going to hear a little more kind of brilliance on the top end. It's just going to push a little bit harder. Gets a little more sparkly.
And so can you give us some, so that's, and you simply hit that, there's a little button on the front, is that right?
Yeah,
to turn it
yeah,
on?
just a little switch above each of the input controls.
Cool. And can you walk us along what maybe some of the other controls are for people who aren't maybe familiar with a traditional interface?
Yeah, sure thing. Going across the front, you have the 4 mic and their combination inputs. So you've got 2 that are mic and high impedance, so you can plug an electric guitar directly into it. You've got 2 that are mic or line, so if you want to plug, an external processor or something, or a synthesizer, you've got that option as well. Then you have a row of input controls, so that's choosing your input gain. You can choose on each of those 4 inputs whether you want to have the transformer engaged or not. So between that really clean sound from the D-Pre preamp or the more saturated sound from the Neve transformers. Then you've got 2 headphone jacks, each with independent volume control, so you and an artist can both listen to whatever mix you need to listen to. And then there's your master out to your studio monitors.
Dig it. So you mentioned you had a couple different sources we can kind of hear these transformers in action. What else do you have?
Yeah, so let's switch over to an acoustic guitar now. So this is one of the new FG Red labels. This is an FS5 acoustic. So this is mic'd up with a condenser mic, and here's what it sounds like without the transformer engaged. And now the same thing with the transformer engaged. Again, it's going to be subtle, but still just a little more presence and a little more sparkle in the top end.
Nice. So do you feel like it's that kind of that transformer effect or character addition is a bit more prevalent on acoustic or electric guitar from your experience?
Oh, it's really dependent on the program material, and it depends on how much high frequency there is in the content. So if you're recording with like a really dark signal and it doesn't really have a lot to work with, it's going to be really subtle. But it really, I find, adds a nice presence to voice. It's fantastic for acoustic guitars. It's really great on drums. It'll really bring out cymbals and so forth. And I've even looped entire mixes, just take analog out of the interface, loop back in on the line inputs on the front, hit the transformers in, and it just hits, it just, gives this great character to an entire mix.
Cool. So what'll be the pricing and availability on the new interface?
They're available now. The one that I've got here, the RT4, is $599. There is also a smaller version available, so if you don't need the 6 inputs on this one, there is a 2x2 called the RT2 that is available for $349.
Nice. Next, we want to jump to Cubase. And obviously, we don't necessarily have the time to go to an in-depth laundry list of features, but this is the new 10.5 upgrade that we're going to be talking about. So if you could highlight a few guitar-centric things that maybe guitarists who record at home would be attracted to with this DAW. Can you let us know some of those?
Yeah, absolutely. There are two big features in Cubase 10.5 that I think are really particularly useful for guitar players. The first is a spectral comparison EQ, and what that means is on the channel EQ, you see your real-time analyzer, you see the frequency response as you change and so forth. But now they've added an extra slot where you can kind of call in a reference channel, and in that same display, you can see the EQ curve for a second channel while you're working on the channel at hand. So if you are layering guitars in a mix, for instance, it's a fantastic tool for like trying to get two different amp sounds to sit together, because you can sort of, not only can you hear what's going on, but you have that extra visual reference to see, oh, like I see this cabinet is really, really active in this area, and this has a different kind of characteristic to it, and it just helps you kind of find those differences and make space for the different tracks. And the second that I think will be really of interest to guitar players is a brand new multi-tap delay plugin. I'm a big delay nerd. Like I usually have 2 or 3 delay pedals going on my board, and they're at different point in the signal chain for different things and whatnot, and you cannot have too much delay. So this has some really cool features for laying out your tap patterns really quickly, so you're not just tied to straight eighth notes or quarter notes or what have you. You can set up these patterns. You can set up independent processing per tap. You can send up processing for how the taps compare to the original signal. It's just a really versatile delay playground. And if guitar players are interested in that, they're really going to have a lot of fun with this. So they should go to steinberg.net, download the trial version, and check it out.
Dig it. And what'll be the pricing on that for new users and for those who already have Cubase and want to upgrade?
So Cubase, there's a couple of different tiers, and I should mention there's also a free tier. Like if you buy this RT4 interface or any of the Steinberg interfaces, it's going to come with Cubase for iOS, and it's also going to come with Cubase AI for Mac and PC. Then the retail tiers, there's Cubase Elements, Cubase Artist, and Cubase Pro. That starts at $99 and goes up, I believe, to $559. Yeah, so one other fun thing about the UR series interfaces is they've got DSP on board, and much like the preamp, that DSP comes from Yamaha's expertise with consoles and so forth. So there is actually an amp simulator built in. Like there's a channel strip, there's a really fantastic reverb, but there is also a number of amp sims available. So I'm going to plug my electric in, and this probably isn't going to replace my Helix or anything like that. But what's really nice about having it on the DSP here, it means there's no latency, and some guitar players can be very sensitive about latency. Even if you're running a plugin in your DAW, just that couple of milliseconds, some players can be really sensitive to it. So having the DSP doing all that work for you is fantastic. So if you're traveling with this, you can plug in, just start writing and recording right away. So here's what that sounds like.
Well, before you hop in there, Dave, we're gonna have you play us out with that sound. But this is Jason Shadwick with Premier Guitar. So make sure to check out more of our gear spotlights over on premierguitar.com. And now we're gonna have Dave play us out.